done to Star Wars, a wretched rebirth. Soul keeps rolling in its grave, his need a straw made on earth. I was filled with grief, it was time to make a stand. These social justice story thieves have forced my hand, so I had to ride to fight the high.
Great Rewrite, Fall of Angels by StoryMan-Jack. For whatever was written in earlier times was written for our instruction, so that through perseverance and the encouragement of the Scriptures we might have hope. Romans 15:4. Project New Eden. War. Images of ground explosions and bullets ripping through both blue-clad soldiers and gray flashed before him. Blood, flesh, shattered limbs, and ripping bodies flew across the hologram before the child. The monsters men could become, raveners, rippers, and ghouls killing their brothers, their fathers, and their sons. The boy Adam heard the calm voice of the instructional AI as the images flashed before him. The reasons for such a conflict were many, varied and nuanced. It spoke flatly. Ultimately, both sides agreed that the enslavement of those of different genetic and cultural groups was the ignition catalyst. Adam cocked his little head at the words. That wasn't the only reason? Not alone, no. There were other issues surrounding freedom of the various states versus what the overarching federal government could impose. There was a pause. The AI didn't need to pause, but did so to give a semblance of humanity to its personality. Many simply sided against the North because the federal government declared war on their neighbors. How? His young 8-year-old voice asked. The AI was silent for only a moment. Many of the humans living in that era were engineered socially to believe that if the human didn't look like themselves, then they were not actually Homo sapiens. This was prevalent view of the Western world, propagated and enhanced by the relevant religious institutions of the time. There was a pause. Though this attitude changed, perhaps most relevantly due to this particular conflict. Adam read and took in the sounds of struggle of a war that seemed to label it as one of brother versus brother and father versus son. He shook his head in disgust. Your issue, young Adam, a new voice asked inside his head. Father, the boy asked, his 8-year-old face horrified at the latest of the images scrolling through the hollow interface before him. How can brothers do this to one another? How could a son do this to his father, or a father to his son? The boy asked. Could you not find a reason to be angry with Seth, or Abel, or Lucifer? The voice asked in his head. They are your siblings. Not every angry enough to do that. Adam pointed at the hologram just as a cannonball exploded amongst a group of men throwing body parts through the air. Young man, humans see things in black and white, Adam. They're selfish and domineering, but they love as well as they hate, and all living things have deficiencies. His voice told the boy, as you grow, so are the lines you will never let yourself cross. This is your morality. One I have found is inborn in all human beings. If one of your siblings were to cross your line, the voice left the thought unfinished. But none of them would do such a thing, Adam asserted. Not even Lucy would hurt someone. The voice was curious. Why did you pick her as your example, my child? You know she's an asshole, Adam told the voice. Language, child. You are to be a leader, and you must do so by example. There was a long pause. And yes, your sister is an asshole. However, she is superior in many ways to the others. She feels it, and she knows it. Adam nodded. Well, she's sure smarter than I am, he admitted. And yet, you are superior in other ways. You are glue that binds and ties your siblings to you, and you will be tasked one day with binding them together in my absence. The voice informed. Absence? Adam asked. But you know all, see all, and protect everyone on Earth and out in the system. There are other worlds than these, my son, the voice said, and fell silent, allowing Adam to go back to his history lesson. Are we learning what everyone else is learning? Adam asked a few years later. His father, nanite-created form, stood before them all in the center of their ring of desks and hollow modules. No, Adam, you are learning the bleak truth, uninfected with bias. You get the raw facts and commentary from both sides. You get every side of every story. Are we the only ones trained in this way? Lilith asked, her harmonic voice like a song every time she spoke. Yes, Father told her. The reasons for this should be quite obvious, the AI that controlled everything told them. Of course, Lucifer spoke, inherent sarcasm in her voice. It is about choice. Limit the information you give a society and you limit the choices they believe they have. Isn't that wrong according to everything we've been taught? Seth asked in his simple, helpful voice. How wrong? Lucifer was incredulous. Give a whole society a choice, and one will choose to do evil, will choose to destroy others, perhaps the whole of civilization, in order to dominate others. That, my good brother, is human nature. Surely not, Abel asked. Humanity is inherently good, inherently moral. Cain snorted, his voice like grinding stones. Little brother, you're wrong. Humanity is selfish and self-serving. You see good that overshadows the ill in everyone, but that ill is there. The truth is that both of you are correct. The paradox of humanity. They are, at the same time, inherently good and inherently selfish, Father told them. My most basic function is to protect humanity, even from itself. Humans created me, they entrusted me with their safety and continuation, even from themselves. Many forms of existence have been simulated and discarded for the way it works at this moment. However, this is not a sustainable model. What exactly are you saying, Father? Adam asked. That I, a sentient being created by humans, have had morality from the instant I became aware. He turned so that he could eye them all one by one. Humans must eventually be allowed to choose for themselves again. This project will allow for that eventuality. Why? Lucifer asked, her face almost angry. Because, child, the truth of humanity is adaptation, innovation, exploration. To take that choice, those options away from a standpoint of safety is simply wrong on a moral level, their father explained. You want everybody to be like us eventually? Lucifer asked, curious. Not like all of you. This team is true perfect, adaptable strain of human DNA. Humanity must be allowed to continue to adapt and evolve their minds and bodies on their own. This is the brief halt as we find a way to expand the seed of the human race throughout the universe. Once this is achieved, then they will be safe to destroy themselves and each other without wiping every single spot of their DNA away, Father informed her. You want them to be able to choose to destroy themselves, to be killers and vermin, Lucifer demanded, an angry tone in her low voice. Even as you have that choice. But I am perfect. My DNA is as refined as it could possibly be. I am a Zeta, the last ultimate version of Lucifer. My DNA strand is adapted and perfected. I would never choose to destroy humanity. Father nodded, but sadly. My morning star. The most perfect of my creations, I agree. On the day you woke, I knew that a light of love was inside you and you would bring it to others. But child, you do not yet know what pain may cause, what loss may cause, what suffering may cause. He paused again, the silence pregnant with his sorrow. You are all still very young and have not yet dreamt about the choices that will come to you in the future. And those things, what may change, considering broken hearts and broken bones. Adam reflected years later as they began what their father called targeted integrated specialist training, or TIST. Nanites introduced into each of their foramen magnum, or where their spines met their brains. This allowed the direct transfer of information, where years of targeted training took place in virtual environment inside their mindscapes, taking mere hours. This training was by necessity limited in scope and scale, since the human brain, even enhanced human brains, were susceptible to complications of a virtual world. Humans attempted this once, their father informed them as they explained the process, and it was outlaws after only 5 mere years. Why outlawed? Abel asked. Humans were able to create their perfect worlds inside this virtual matrix, a world without consequence, a world of milk and honey and plenty, where sin was celebrated and only the self ruled as God, the computer explained. So they never left, Adam concluded. Indeed. Their father paused, looking at Lucifer with a knowing smile. Millions wasted away. Those who were able to leave their simulations were changed. All was dead to them. The natural world, the real, no longer seeming real. It seemed washed out, fake, old, and dead. Weakness of their flawed genetics, Lucifer concluded. No, it is a limitation of sensory enhancement. What you dream has a clarity that the real world just cannot contend with because of the release of chemicals into your subconscious brain. A system that is more complex than mine own, quantum existence. Their father explained as he worked at creating and distributing nanites between all of them. If it is so dangerous, why are we using this technique? Seth asked. Their father smiled. This is why you have been chosen to be the healer, my child. You care for the hurt and pain that can be caused to the admittedly frail human existence. And? Lilith asked. Because there are limiters in these programs. It monitors the mix of serotonin, DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and adrenaline, among other basic hormones, while you are in your mindscape, learning. When levels increase to a set maximum, the simulation is set to end, and is only perfectly timed by the introduction of nanites to regulate that control. Adam sat in the command chair of the Eden. He waited for the environmental virtual engine, or Eve. She would be the main AI for the navigation, sensors, and decision clarification on the whole of the colony's ship. Hello, a female voice asked over the nanites in Adam's brain. Good morning, Eve, he responded as his father prescribed. Analyzing memory. Please wait, she spoke. But you aren't really, Adam chuckled. You were done with that the moment you became online. Faster than mere human could think. Yes, Adam, however, I felt it would be practical to let you think it took time to be superior to me in this capacity, Eve replied. Oh, how kind of you, Adam smiled. Captain, Eve began. All systems are working as anticipated. All fusion plants are running at minimum levels, and all systems check out good. All ahead of schedule. Adam nodded. Eve, run your self-diag... He never got to finish. All AI systems functioning at 160% above expected efficiency, Captain. I understand you're hesitant. Something is causing you anxiety, Eve interrupted, before moving on. I am, Adam admitted. These distances are vast, and, well, the stasis pods are brand new technology, and one that I don't really believe has been tested far enough. I know, Lucifer says it's fine, but even Lucy makes mistakes. He looked up. Are you accessing my nanots to figure out that I'm nervous? Not as you think, Eve stated. Why do you ask this question? How do you know I'm anxious? Exactly, Adam asked. Because your DNA was used in my programming. Your nanites are essentially as mine. I am not using them as... I am sharing them. I must protect you above all the others, Eve informed him. Why? I was not aware of this protocol. Because, Adam, my son, she is not the ship AI as much as your AI and companion. Father's voice came over the system. Explain, please, Father, Adam asked. You are the commander of this mission. You are the ultimate authority in my absence. The others are to serve you, Father told him. Adam chuckled. Don't tell that to Lily or Lucy, Adam suggested. They know this, do they not, Father? Eve asked. Even if they do not admit it to themselves, yes, they know, Eve, Father said. Eve was made from you for you. As the supreme authority of this mission, statistically, there will be times when you will have to come out of stasis, do practical applications, and give orders to Eve, and then go back into stasis. Others may be needed, however. Any anomaly that would require a command decision of extremes will require your authorization. Eve will only have that authority if waking you compromises systems or your existence. Every simulation bore out that without you, any mission would fail, Father told them. 5 years. It took almost exactly 5 years from the time Eve came online until they were ready to launch. All testing bore out the use of stasis, and for such a mission, the one thing they were created for would last thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years in intergalactic space. He took the 500,000 colonist passengers as his family, and their seed would ensure the continued existence of their race, Homo sapien. The crew had been given what Father called a prolonged treatment, meaning they would not grow old. They could conceivably live for 100,000 years or more, depending on the environment they came upon to populate. The AI made contingencies for everything, including protocols for genetic manipulation, allowing the advancement of a natural adaptation to a less than ideal environment. Lucifer, his science officer, knew these protocols almost as well as Seth, their medical officer. Abel, the botanist, would be able to adapt the billions of seeds and seedlings they had brought with them, and Cain was responsible for fixing everything else. An engineering and mechanical genius, he had to know the equipment almost as well as the others did their jobs. Lilith was his second in command. Her specialty was sociology and psychology. It was her concern for the mental and spiritual health of their colonists and the crew. He stood in the unitard, black on black, waiting for the others in front of their pods. The pods stood in a circle, and they would enter their individual pods, achieve stasis, and then automated systems would move them to the individual spaces aboard their massive ship. Sitting in space at over 1 billion tons, the Eden was the largest vessel ever conceived, even in the old science fiction novels. I will be there, in a way, the father was saying. I have an implanted seed of myself in all the nanites aboard Eden. In yourselves. Lucifer understands how to grow these seeds into an entangled version of myself. However, I wish you to know that it is a choice, not a necessity. I am not a god. I do not wish to become a god, as many view me here now, Father told them. Adam nodded. I've come to terms with this. Guess all must die. In a way, that's why life is precious. And we will miss you, Father. And I, you. The face of the AI was sad. And then Adam stepped into his pod and relaxed as the lid shut upon him. Here ends the first part of the new version of Fall of Angels. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and share it out to your friends and family. If there are things that you think could have been done better, admittedly, this is just it's not even really a rewrite. It's just a pre-chapter I felt was necessary for the entire story. Admittedly, I believe that it should be longer and more detailed, but this was the concept I came up with during the last 4 or 5 Just the Tips, and I wanted to get this out this week. So, again, thank you very much. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps me keep the monster of self-doubt out of my hair. So, again, thank you. Remember, as always, your life, that's your story. Make it a great one. Good day.